Today we've got another episode of the NRG Insights Behind the Broker series. This is where we speak to people within the mortgage industry, and that includes, obviously, like today, people that help out the mortgage industry or have like ancillary products, if you like, to mortgage brokers. So today I've got Rosalia Lazzara-Tilley on from Manuka Media. Added a bit to that since the last time we spoke. Welcome, Ros.
Hi, Marcus. Hello. Thank
Hi.
you so much for having me back.
No problem at all. So let's just start. Talk to us, for people that don't know, talk to me about the journey up to kind of Manuka Media and where we've got to. And obviously we'll talk about the book and everything, the reason we've got you on. But talk to me about the journey for Manuka Media.
Cool. Yes, thank you. So for those of you who are listening and are new to me, like Marcus said, I'm Rosalia Lazzara-Tilley, the founder and CEO of Manuka Media. I'm also a podcast host myself of The Money Honey. I'm a recently #1 best-selling author, as you said, we're going to be talking about. I'm also a brand ambassador for a female financial educational platform. I'm a school ambassador for, in schools, helping the next generation get inspiration about money, finance, and business. What else do I do? I feel like I'm running out of time of things that I actually do.
That's a hell of a lot of job titles. I'm Marcus, I do recruitment.
Yeah. Yeah, so I do quite a lot. So the journey has evolved, and Manuka Media started in the middle of the pandemic. So it was started in 2020, just as I was leaving the specialist lending world. So I've been in financial services now for about 10 years. I started out as a master broker. So I was a business development manager doing packaging for commercial, bridging, development, second charges. So I was in that specialist world. Then I went to work for a lender because I had the broking experience. So the lender wanted me to have a go at that. So I did, again, bridging, development, commercial, second charges, and residential as well, first charge. But then after, a few years there, the pandemic broke out and it was a very, very different world. And I wasn't planning of exiting the lending world so soon. I have always wanted my own business, but I was very well into my job. I absolutely loved my job. I wasn't planning on coming out of it, but I was obviously out because I was out, and that was the way it went. So I was furloughed, then made redundant. Yes, so that's when I was at that crossroads at home, sitting at home, as many of you probably remember, just wondering what next, what's going to happen with my job, what's going to happen with my life, what's going to happen with me. And that's when I decided to start a personal branding, content and digital marketing business, because I felt like it was in that moment that financial services and the professionals within the industry started to wake up to the idea that if you're not visible, you're forgotten. And that was the point in which I decided to transfer my skills that I already knew and was doing for myself. I was already building the brand for myself. I already was getting leads from social media. I just didn't know professionally how or why I was doing it until I really sat down and designed my own process and program. And then I started teaching it to advisors. I've worked with fintech platforms, lenders, BDMs, advisors. Yeah, so that's 3 years later. Here we are.
Amazing. And do you know what? I hear of so many good businesses that are built out of, if I look at half of my clients, most of them came out of 2008 when the market crashed. They didn't, it was a tough gig. You had to try and find a new way of making money. And then it's exactly the same for the last couple of, the last problematic times we've had for the industry. I think great businesses are born from, you're not maybe born to do it, or it's not like the obvious next stage in your career, but actually if something happens in your life that you need to make a change, I mean that's how really good businesses are built, right?
I mean, yes, they are. It was in my case, and I feel very grateful and blessed that that's the way the plan went. It probably wouldn't have gone that way had I not had maybe my own mental resilience, my own personal development, my own experience in the past. It's not like I just woke up one day and I was like, oh, well, I've been made redundant. I totally know how to start a business. Yeah, I know exactly what to do. So it's not like it just happens because it happens. There's years of grafting and hard work in the background that people don't know about, haven't seen, because they don't know me until I came out with Manuka Media. Maybe that's the first time people have ever met me before. But
I do think that's the interesting thing as well, how people talk about like overnight successes and people that have just sort of come out from nowhere, and actually you've been grafting for 10 years in the background to get where you want. And also, I think this is relevant when we'll talk about it with the book and stuff as well, but you still have to take massive action, right? You could have just, because these crashes and these times in our lives, it can send people the other way as well. You know, you can hide under a pillow and wait for it to all be done and try, you know, things will get better and that kind of thing. But actually, what you did was take massive action and change the direction of your career. So, I mean, obviously massive props to you, but that's something that people have to take note of, right? It's the same as doing marketing or social media or anything. You have to do it. You have to take action. You have to take massive action to make massive differences.
Exactly. Yeah. That for me, it was a bold move. It was brave. It was scary. I was definitely nervous about, you know, the reaction that people might have. I was, to be honest, the biggest reason I believe why people don't take those risks or why people don't invest in that thing or don't take action is because they're afraid of looking stupid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what if it goes wrong? What if it doesn't go to plan? And I was going to be, you know, back then in 2020, whilst everyone was finding out about the redundancies that were going on with the lender, and obviously knowing that my job was at risk as well, I had to go from that to announcing, oh, guess what? I've lost a really respected, reputable position. I've lost a really good job. And guess what? I'm just gonna start my own business, you know? I'm just gonna go out there and teach you all how to use social media. And I felt like I was gonna be ridiculed. I felt like I was going to be laughed at. And do you know what? A couple of people did. Even though they didn't feel like it was coming across that way, it did come across that way. So, you know, there was
people
a couple
still do
of
it now, right?
comments.
People can still be, doesn't matter what success you are, people can still be, even passive aggressively, I still see it. You know, when people, you know, they maybe not buy into what you do, especially for our industries that are outside of the core industry that we work in. You know, there's a little bit of not haters, but you know what I mean. There are people out there that will still give you those little digs, and it doesn't matter how much success you get. They're always going to be there, but they're not your people, though, right? They're not the people you want to work with anyway.
No, yeah, exactly. So anyway, I managed to get over those comments and pull through.
And that's and obviously the business has gone from strength to strength. And the reason we were going to talk as well, I've got my copy here. Have you got yours?
Yes, I have one. Yes,
You got one. You've got one.
I have a couple.
So Ros has written a book, Social Media Guide for Mortgage Brokers. So how to grow your brand on social media, which has obviously been hugely successful for you, hasn't it? Amazon bestseller, am I right in saying?
Yes, it was bestseller, number one in 7 categories.
Amazing.
And it hit number 106 in the whole of the books category on Amazon. So like just general category, yeah.
So how did it come about then? What was the thought process behind, you know what, I'm going to document this?
What, document the book? Why?
Yes.
Why
how did the process come about that you decided to write it?
Yeah, the reason I wrote the book is because I wanted to add value and I wanted to reach more people faster. So my business model is very much about bespoke, unique, very one-to-one driven, rather than masses, like loads of people are doing the same thing. So I always want to keep that model because not everybody stands out on social media. Not everyone can be viral, or not everyone can just, you know, stand out and generate leads. You know, it's not for everybody basically. So we are working with like the top 1%. We're working with, you know, those who are really going to take it next level, the elite, the 1%ers, right? Yeah. But I still wanted to make a massive impact in the industry because I see financial advisors and mortgage brokers as educators. And so if you're trying to change the way that we see money, the way we use money, the way we approach property, the way we manage our budgets, we have to educate us, right? We have to educate our society. And I can't do that on my own with one client at a time. I have to try and make a big move, right? So that's why I committed to the book, because I thought if this book can reach hundreds more people that don't have direct access to me and that are not working directly with me, they can still do something that affects our society, that makes a positive impact on our generation and the generations to come. So with this book, it's a summary of, you know, what I teach with and what I do with my clients, but in a more done DIY version, you know, do it yourself.
And it is good, like to see a process behind it, because I think a lot of people think social media is a bit scattergun. I think, and I genuinely see it in brokers. I say that because I'm connected mostly to brokers. It might be every industry, but people don't seem to understand there has to be some sort of objective behind it. They have to have some sort of strategy. There's a lot that goes in. I mean, it's a massive book, and I congratulate you just for getting it all down, because it's a tough gig, right? To make everything a process, because we know what we do for a living, but to actually document it is very difficult. So how long did that take? How long was it, the journey?
Well, it depends from when you count. So how long does it take to write a book? It takes longer to think about it than it does to actually do it. So I've been thinking about it for 3 years, but I actually got it done in 6 months.
Right. That's
So,
that's not a long time. Like the process of getting done. I've tried to document. I mean, any process we document. I think maybe the way my brain works as well. I'm not very good at sitting down and documenting processes. So actually writing stuff down as to to benefit people is really hard. Did you enjoy it, or was it quite a labour of love?
Yes, I do. I did love it. Of course, I loved it, but it was it happened so slowly, like this step by step. Like you guys just saw, like the book's coming out tomorrow on Amazon. You get it now.
Yeah.
But I did try to document, because there was so many stages to it. All the boring bits that didn't even get any hype or attention. By the way, you know, I was documenting like the weekly Friday meetings I was having for 6 months, every single Friday. Non-negotiable, 9 a.m. I sat down with the publishers and we would discuss like what's next in the book, you know, what's our next step, revise what we've already done. So all the unsexy
with the publishers, were they pretty good at giving you guidance for it? Or were you kind of guiding them, or was it?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about, they were absolutely amazing. They were absolutely fantastic. I've already recommended them to people, but it does depend on the client as well. Like you have to be a self-starter, self-motivator. You have to be diligent, like, you know, you have to want it more than the publishers do, because regardless, they're going to get paid. And, you know, if they say do X, Y, Z, I've done X, Y, Z, and then I gave them ABC as well. So I was driving it from a action point of view. And, you know, they were very, you know, if anything, they gave me a review as a client before I gave them a review as a supplier. They were like, Ros, we just want to give you some feedback that you've been the best client we've ever had. Like, you know, we tell you what to do and you do it, you do this. So bless them. They were really encouraging, because they were just, you know, you get stuff done when you get stuff done. That's it. So I had to get it out there. And I think the commitment, the financial commitment I had to make, and the time investment with these people that I didn't want to let down, is what got the book out there. Otherwise, I would have still sat on it. If you're doing it on your own independently, people think, oh, I'm going to write my life, you know, I'll wait 20 years and I'll do a really good book with 20 years of my experiences. But it's just, that's not the case. That's never going to happen.
And it's the massive action thing again, right? Like loads of people are sat on ideas that they go, I'm going to do this, and then there's reasons why. We constantly give ourselves reasons why. I suppose getting the publishers involved earlier on, it keeps you a little bit accountable, but at the same time, it's still a tough gig to actually sit down and do it. And I suppose it's relevant to your clients as well, and mine, just in regards to just getting it done. Like you've got to get over the fear factor, and even I'm not talking about writing books, I'm talking about writing posts. You know, you still just got to get it done. So I think it's a good way, especially if you're speaking to your clients. Go, look, I've sat down and done this. You can sit down and write posts. You can sit down and do video. You know, it's how do you push people that, like me, for instance, for documenting and that kind of thing. How do you push those guys just to, because we know it works once it works, right? We know see the return on investment. How do you push them initially to get them over the edge?
That's a really interesting question, because if you had asked me that a few months ago, like, how do you push people? I would have been like, right, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do that. Now I'm like, I don't push people, because I am not here to babysit anyone. I'm not here I'm not an accountability coach. If you do it, you do it. If you don't do it, we have a problem. And it's your money that's gone down the drain, because you've hired me. Why are you hiring me to watch you do nothing? So that's why I'm very selective with who I work with, because it makes me look rubbish if you do nothing, but also it's so dissatisfying, because I will end up getting paid regardless, But if you don't take the actions, then you're just going to be like, oh, that was expensive, I didn't do anything. And you're probably going to find a way to blame me anyway. You're probably going to find it's probably my fault for somehow. But, you know, if I give you the exact strategies, the methods, what you do, we had a situation where a mortgage and protection advisor signed up, but she wanted, because of budget, and she was I'm not going to disclose who it is, but she was a bit hesitant about going for the full done for you service. So she chose the number. So she had like a tiered pricing structure, and they said, you know, it's either DIY, done with you, or done for you. She obviously went for DIY because the numbers looked more appealing for the DIY. She didn't do anything with it. Like, absolutely did not.
The why bit is yourself, right? It's the really important bit.
Exactly. So she then had to come back and retrace her steps and say, I know I've just paid for DIY. Can you charge me the difference to do the done for you now? Because I can't actually do it myself. So, as they say, pay cheap, pay twice, because it's not a cheap package, but and it's not ineffective, because some people have paid for DIY and they have gone on to do great things on their own. But if you have to assess yourself, like, am I an action taker? And also, do I actually even know what to do in the first place? Because if you don't know what to do, even if you pay for DIY, there is always going to be a skills gap, something that's going to stop you from actually doing something. So it might seem cheaper to do DIY, but actually, is it cheap to pay for something, not do anything with it at all, and get zero return on investment? How's that cost effective? You know, she could have, and she has. She's now, when we started seriously taking it, like, absolutely seriously, and she went for the full done for you, within the first month, and I'm telling you, she had zero presence on social media, like non-existent. So we had to set up her social media profiles from scratch. She got 4 leads. Now, those 4 leads quadrupled her investment. So she not only made back her investment, but obviously an average mortgage client with protection and everything is quite a high ticket customer. 4 leads off the back of just putting into action what we discussed.
I think that's really important, actually, that we kind of look, and it's too easy to look at social media as something, there's something we've got to do, it's something we've got to get involved in. Like, it is an integral part of our business now. Like, 90% of my business comes from LinkedIn, from, you know, podcasts, etc. New inquiries come to us because of what we put out there. And I still speak to recruiters, and it's the same as brokers, when they're like, oh, I know it's something I've got to do. But it's not like something you do at the end of the day because you've got 20 minutes spare. It should be an integral part of you. This is your part of your business plan now, right? This is business. This is how we interact with each other.
Yeah, so it's serious. Like, at the end, you're absolutely right. I can tell those who, the opposite end of the spectrum to this lady I was just describing is someone who says, look, I'll just throw the money at you. You just do it all, yeah? I don't call me at the end of the month when you got me like 10 leads a day, you know, you've fed all my brokers in the office, like everyone's got leads, and they are so far removed from the process that, to me, that is so unattractive in a client, because I feel like, yes, you've got the big bucks and you want to spend it, and you think that I'm just going to go away, sit in a room like a gremlin and plug away at social media. But because you don't take it seriously and you're not even committed to being involved,
you never do it.
That's not something we can work with, because it's your brand at the end of the day. I can't pretend to be you to a certain degree. Like, we can post and log in, but it's you. So yeah, we don't work with that either. We don't work in that sort of situation. It's not about...
I mean, it's the same. But it's the same as... we've talked about this before, how our jobs are linked in the way we choose who we work with and that kind of thing. And it is the same. If someone's not taking it seriously, if they're like, yeah, let's just have a go, yeah, that's fine, or we'll do, you know, if they're half-arsing it, we can't be interested, because you've got to take it seriously, because it's our brand as well, right? We're putting ourselves out there going, this is what we do for people. If you can't be bothered, then we can't work with you. So, it works the same. But it's just interesting, these really important parts of business, like recruitment, like social media, like those things that people, they take so long to decide on the accountant they want to use, or they take so long on deciding where, what their office is going to be like, etc. But then they sort of half-ass their really important things, like how people are going to perceive you online and who works for you. It blows my mind that these are secondary. It seems to, and again, I don't know if it's just mortgages, because these are my people, these are people I speak to every day, but whether it's just across the board. But it does seem strange that people don't give enough attention. I think Or do you think, rather, is because you don't see the tangible return on investment? It's not guaranteed. It's not like you buy 10 leads off the internet, they complete your 10%, so you get one mortgage deal out of it. It's hard to define that.
So, my observation, and I come in peace. I don't say it like in a judgy way, and I.
No, I'm the same, by the way. These are my people.
Yeah.
This is just a genuine industry issue.
Yeah, and it's just an observation, and I'm not. Obviously, it's a general comment, but you might be the exception. So if you're listening to this, you might be the exception, or you might not see this blind spot. But I've come to learn this, that mortgage advisors are very good at closing the deal. Once someone is ready to buy and they know they need a mortgage and they are speaking to the broker, they are able to complete that process all the way through.
Yeah, the technicalities of the job is what they've got down, right? That's why they're brokers. That's the bit that they should be really good at.
Yeah, that's the bit that they're good at. So on reflection, I think that's because they majority start out in an employed role or in a role that is self-employed, but the leads are given to you.
Yeah.
So I've seen it so many times over the course of 3 years that I work with newly self-employed advisors, and by newly I mean 3-5 years, maybe even 10 years, but have come from the mentality of the leads were always provided to me. I managed to close 70% of them, and now the mindset has to switch from I can close deals to I can generate deals. And that's the difference, is that when you're on social media or you're doing SEO or pay-per-click, or you're doing networking, you have to switch that mindset from this customer is not ready yet. We are building a relationship. And so you're going so far behind in the process that you're normally used to, that you get agitated or aggravated or frustrated with the fact that these aren't closing, which is why I feel like social media, advisors can be skeptical with social media, because the customers aren't ready to buy yet, so they can't see past that. We are building brand awareness, we are building we're building relationships, we're building credibility, trust. That comes first. When a customer knows that they need a mortgage and they've known you for a while and they've decided that you're the mortgage broker for them, that's when you can shine and do all your closing techniques that you know how to do and give them all the advice and hand holding, because they're ready. But I think brokers need to get better and just change the mindset at building that awareness, building trust before the customer's actually ready to buy.
It's the long-term thought process, right? Because the leads are instant gratification because they convert at 10-15% and you get them. And but actually building a business around yourself, we're all lead generators, aren't we? We're all marketeers. We are speaking to people. Interesting enough about that stat, and I don't know if it's the same for brokers, but we're really interested. We probably work with about 9% of the people that we speak to at the moment. However, we know over the next 5 to 10 years, we'll be able to help 80% of those. So we just can't help them now. But if you treat everyone like if it's a long game and everyone I speak to, I will be able to help at some point, it makes it much easier. But we're all very, and understandably, we're all driven by, we need to earn money, we need to, we need the financial reward. But the financial reward is a long-term gain, isn't it? It's actually picking up the relationship side of things is so much more long-term than get a lead, fix it. And I think that's come to light over the last year where the market's got tougher. I think you can spot the guys who've been concentrating on relationships, and I think, and this is not just mortgages, this is any business. If you've been concentrating on short-term transactions to get cash in the door as opposed to long-term relationships, I think it's bit a lot of people on the arse over the last year, if I'm honest. I think it's come to fruition. So hopefully that gives people a better understanding of what you do and why it takes longer and that kind of thing. Hopefully the last year has made people a bit clearer as to what's more important.
Definitely, 100%.
Good. So give us a couple of tips. We want everyone to buy the book, obviously. But if people are looking at the moment and they know, how many people do you speak to like this, right? That they know they need to do it, but they just haven't done it. What do you do? And I know you don't want to push people and that kind of thing, but some of these guys just need to know that like, number one, they're not going to look like a fool. But what advice can you give that if they're brand new?
You can look like a fool. You can. You can. Sorry. So yeah, I
don't see many because I just think like I just scroll on. Like I don't stop and go, that guy's a dickhead. I just move on. So I don't think like.
Yeah, I'm not saying
I
that.
think you
I'm
keep
not
doing
saying
it.
that guy looks
Yeah.
horrible or anything. But so my analogy with this is, so some coaches would just say, just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay. Now, if you bake a cake, all right, and you keep leaving out the eggs, right, and not replace, I can't tell you to keep going because you're constantly going to bake the cake without the eggs, and
Yeah,
this
yeah.
cake requires eggs, right? Or you can't keep making, given that I'm Italian, I make the best tiramisu ever, you can't keep making it without coffee. Like, you have to put the coffee in. Like, that is the sweetness, right? That is the honey, right? You've got to put that in. So no, I'm not the coach that just hypes you up and makes you feel positive and it's like, yeah, keep going, yeah, do it again.
Do another one.
I'm not going to do that. Because if there is something fundamentally incorrect that you're doing, I fix that. That's
Yep.
what strategy is. If there is something that you are saying that isn't quite catching on, like you haven't got that video hook, or you are just waffling on, or I give you the tactics for how to make it better. Now, we don't have to all go to Hollywood. We don't all need a professional camera crew. And our service, our done for you service and I'm not trying to sell the service. What I'm trying to say is that, you say, top tip, how do you keep going? You have to fix what is stopping you, right? So I can't push you to
Do
do
you think
something
stopping
that
it, some of these guys stopping them is them that's stopping them? I know if you're making monumental
so take
cock-ups,
action
like
on
it's-
what you can do. So what today can you do? So is it a case of you don't have the tools? Okay, go and buy a selfie ring, go and buy a light, go and buy a selfie
I've got one
stick.
here. You can see it bouncing off my bald head. Go on.
Go
Sorry.
and get the tools. Okay, so you've got yourself the tools, right? Now, what else is stopping you? Just keep asking yourself every time you hit a new step, what else is stopping you? I don't know what to say. How can you not know what to say when there is so much content on the internet? Copy someone, make it your own style. Take something that you do like and adapt it to your own liking. Research, what are your customers saying? So there's a chapter in the book, literally chapter 6, called How to Think of Content Ideas. That might be the one thing that's stopping you because you don't know where to get content ideas from. Okay, read that chapter or speak to a colleague and say, hey, you seem to be producing lots of content. How are you doing that? So after that, you've got the content ideas. What else is stopping you? Well, I don't know how to get myself on camera. I don't really know. That's where I don't know how to get yourself on camera either until I get you on camera. That's
Yeah.
the bit that, do you know what I mean? Sorry, this cold,
That's all right.
this weather. So I can't get you on camera until I get you on camera. So that's why some people have the done for you where they get that camera confidence coaching, they get that hand holding, they get that feedback. So I think that's the biggest barrier, is that at home, you're recording yourself, you're like, I feel like a lemon, I feel like an absolute idiot, and I don't even know if this is any good. And then you post it out there hoping that it is good. So that is where obviously practice makes progress, not perfect. So practice makes progress. So will naturally progress. You'll naturally get better, but you have to practice it first.
I wrote that down this morning for some reason in my notes. I don't know if I was copying something you said about progression, not perfection, but it's true, isn't it? It's just about getting a little bit better. Like you're never going to.
Yeah, you just get a little bit better every time. Exactly. The more podcasts you do, the more videos you do, the more
content
networking
side
you
of things
do.
for me it seems obvious, and I don't know if it's the same for everyone else, but I speak to my target market every day, and no one ever phones me because they're happy, right? No one ever goes, oh, I just thought I'd give you a ring to let you know that everything's going really well. I'm happy with everything. So I understand my people's problems because they phone me with them. I'm part-time recruiter, part-time therapist for brokers. That's the nature of the business. What that means is that I've got so much content because I know what their pain points are.
Yeah.
So much the same for brokers. You're speaking to people every day about their problems, and you're fixing those problems. So explain how you're fixing it. I know that's a bit of a light bulb moment for me because we say it in the office. We try and drive social media more in there, so it's easy for you because you think of content. I'm like, because you're doing it every day. I'm literally every conversation is content. I mean, you just have to change your mindset into what content is
And
useful.
that's it. That's one of the pillars. So you must have read the book or something. But that is
It's got a crease in the.
that is one of the pillars of how to think of content ideas. I've got 7 content pillars and 7 different categories. And so if you're stuck for what to post, one of those categories should instigate something that you already have in you. It's not something new that you need to learn. It's something that you already have access to. So I've made a really simple content marketing strategy in the book where you've got 7 categories. If you think of content every week or every month in those 7 categories, you'll never run out of things to say, because you're constantly going to be out of all the ideas that are bubbling away in the world, in the news, and those 7 categories are evergreen. Those are the things that are always going to be happening, the things that you've always got access to, and the things that you could always be talking about. So yeah, I think how to take action, find what's stopping you, and either get help or get educated on that, and get practicing. Like, those are literally the only 3 things that I can think of that can actually put you into action. Even if you get help, you still have to take action.
Yeah. I think that's the main thing, isn't it? You just got to do it. And as horrible as it is when you first do it, it gets easier and it gets better. And then when you see a return on investment, you wish you'd started it years before. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm working with one of my most successful clients at the moment, who started out with me in my first year. Met me on a webinar and quickly signed up, got on like a house on fire, but he didn't do everything that I was suggesting he do. And oh my goodness, had he done it 3 years ago, he'd be the one right now that you can't avoid on social media. He genuinely would be that person. But he's come back around again and he was like, Ros, I've been listening to everything you say. Other people are saying it too. Now I'm seeing it happen for other people. I'm ready now. And he is ready now and he's doing it. But it is so much harder than what it would have been like 3 years ago.
Because but that's the same for everything, right? There's everything in my business that I look at now thinking, God, if I'd done that 3 years ago. But now is the best time. 3 years ago was the best time. Now is the second best.
Yeah, like the saying that with the tree, right? When's the best time to plant a tree? It was 20 years ago, but the next best time is literally now. So, the marketing you do today will come to fruition in your pipeline 3 months from now. Mm-hmm. So you have to work for the future business that you desire. You have to work for the pipeline that you wish to have in 3, 4, 6 months' time. That work has to be put in today. I see also a lot of people saying, oh, I'm really busy right now with leads. I'll sign up when it's a bit quieter. And you're like, that's the worst time. That's when it's not going to work, because you're going to be desperate and you're going to be rushed and you're going to be frustrated. It needs to be evergreen. It needs to constantly. You don't put your website up and down as and when you're busy. You have a website and that's it. Your website's always going to be there. You don't turn it off when you're busy and you don't turn it on when you're not, right? So that's the same as social media.
Do you know what? I was speaking to someone who arguably is probably one of the best marketeers in financial services, Isla Robinson, who is looks at all of marketing and branding for Ennis, and their branding and their marketing is astounding. And he just said, we've just got to keep going. He said, busy or not, you just got to do the same thing. He said, we've been consistent for 15 years. He said, I'd love to give you a magic pill that you go, oh, this is marketing. He goes, it's not. He goes, it's getting in front of your customers, getting in front of them all the time, and just fucking being relentless with it. Just quality relentlessness. Yeah. But you'd love to know if there was like, oh, this is the magic thing, but it's not, is it? Like, it's just getting a little bit better and but constantly doing it, whether you're busy or not. I think that's really important.
Exactly. I think it's funny. Some people's attitude is, oh my gosh, Ros, I've been so busy, I haven't been able to post. Whereas my attitude is, oh my gosh, I've been so busy, I can't stop posting because I've got so much to talk about. I haven't got enough days in a week.
Do you do that though? Do you start thinking in content? Because I've got to that point, because I now appreciate my job is the business that we do is brilliant. The process and everything we do is fantastic, but people will forget about us in a minute. My job is constantly being in front of people. So because of that, the way I think in content a lot more now. And I think you do.
I always think in content. I think in content for my customers. My customers are talking, so an IFA could be talking to me, and literally, rather than me acknowledging what they've just said, my response is, that should be a post. And they're like, what?
No, we have this. They take the piss in the office about it, because every time someone says to me, I said, that's a post. But that's true, isn't it? Because we're talking about someone's problems, and that's a post. Or
nice. You should do my job, Marcus.
Yeah, we're all marketeers. That's my job.
Yeah, no, exactly. You are your business ambassador. You are your brand ambassador. You are the one who goes to bed at night thinking about it. You are the one that wakes up thinking, how am I going to tackle this? You are the one that, wants it more than anybody else. You are the brand ambassador. And that's the mindset shift I was saying that mortgage advisors and financial advisors need to really hone in and really master, is that you're not just a mortgage advisor, right? You are running a business. You are an employer as well. You might be an employer as well. You might, you have a family too. So you have to juggle so many things. So you have to work on all those things as well, right?
Yeah.
So
the marketing side of things, again, I think I stole this off Isla as well, but he said, we're not a mortgage. This is really important. It's changed my mindset shift a couple of years ago when he said, we're not a mortgage company. We're a marketing company that sells mortgages.
Mortgages,
and he said, you are a marketing company. The end product is recruitment. And as soon as you get that into your head, that's all you think about. And
exactly.
The difference in the business is massive. It's a mindset shift. It's pointless being the best kept secret in the industry. You need to be in front of everyone.
Like some people are like, oh, we don't want to share like these reviews, or we don't want to share our client success stories because we don't want other financial advisors to see that we've helped this client. I'm like, okay, well, if they don't see it, no one sees it. Great, keep it to yourself. Go to bed at night, be happy with it, and that's it. No one else needs to know about it.
Someone said that the other day. They said, do you not concern that everyone knows who your clients are? Because I talk about them and a case study and stuff. And I said, if my clients of 10 years go to someone else because they're going to come in cheaper because they know who they are, or they're going to say, I saw you online with Marcus, that's a bigger problem than my releasing who I work with, right? I've got a serious problem with my business. So no, I'm not concerned about who I work. People know who I work with. That's absolutely no issue whatsoever.
Exactly. I have a client hall of fame. I release like who I've just been working with, who I'm in the studio with. Like at the end of the day, I share my clients with a lot of other industry professionals. Yeah. So, you've probably had them on the show as well. You know them, like Gary, Ash, like they go to hit them and they come to me too, but for different reasons. Like we all serve such a different purpose. We all add value in so many different ways. I've currently got a client right now too that work with me and a competitor, both at the same time. And we both know about it. We both know that they're coming to us for different things. Yeah. And I love it because it means that they're expanding their knowledge. They're getting a different perspective. They're getting more sucked into like that atmosphere, and that is amazing because then we can really work and get like stuck in. And I love that they bring to me like, oh hey Ros, at this seminar I heard XYZ, what do you think of that for our plan? I'm like, look, and sometimes I'm like, look, obviously there are too many cooks and all that, but let's like, sometimes it's just about balancing them out and being like, right, just calm down, let's just focus on this. And so it is about taking it step by step and having that coach, that guidance. It's like me going to a personal trainer saying, oh yeah, after we do squats, can I just do like some cartwheels? And he'll be like, not really. Not really. That doesn't go quite well with the squats. Back to the point, doesn't
it? It's the strategy and objective. You've got to remember that we're not scattergunning just stuff online to be online. Like there's an objective behind everything. Yeah. Good. I've kept you for longer than I said I would. I really appreciate your time today. So hopefully, if people want to get hold of the book or want to speak to you, how do they get hold of you? Obviously, all of your socials, etc., will be on the on all of our podcasts, etc. But how can they get hold of you?
Absolutely. So, if you are really starting out with social media, or you want to give a gift to your team members this Christmas, and you want them to come back in 2024 feeling like they're ready to attack social media but they don't know how, then the book is the best place to start. It's it's a really reasonable price. I think it's like now $14.95. It's got so much like knowledge in there, so much depth, so many actions. There's actually homework in there. I'm not going to test you, Marcus, okay? I'm not going to test if you've done the homework or not, but you can see in the book there's like squares that have got exercises for you to actually, so it's like I'm there doing a lesson with you, like saying, right, you've just read this chapter, here's how to put this chapter to life. Mm-hmm. And there's also a link, so in the book there's a link to the website that gives you access to exclusive resources. So that's the best place to start, and you can find the book on Amazon. So if you just type in Social Media Guide for Mortgage Brokers, it is the only book on the market that does this. So it's very, very easy to find, and it's got a colourful. Do you like how I did like a home, like the journey, like this is a street, like a residential street with houses,
money and a big like.
Yeah, and also like podcast, I made a mortgage street with social media. So because that's the mission. Yeah, because that's the mission. It's about you got to think beyond, I'm a broker. You've got to think about what you are providing the society, financial education, roof over their heads, protection for their whole family. So yeah, go on that journey, and then social media, I'm all over it. So see you on there, see you online.
Thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you got through to some brokers as well and got some tidbits, and and hopefully helping people on their social media journey. Thank you to everyone watching on YouTube and listening on Spotify. I will speak to you all soon.